Hi and welcome to this reading. Today's reading comes from some pretty powerful words that I heard as I was waking up the other morning, in that kind of stage where you're half asleep but you're not quite awake. What I heard was, don't forget chapter 6. I've no idea what it means. I did a bit of investigating, headed down some trails where I thought I might get some answers, but I want to use my cards today to pull some further energy on it. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. A bit about me first. I'm an intuitive tarot reader. I pick up on energy prior to a reading. I will then come and use my tarot and oracle decks to further clarify that message. All of the readings on my channel are timeless, so whenever you stumble across them, you're meant to find them. All of the decks that I use on my channel are my own designs because I'm also an illustrator, and if you call to any of them, the links to them can be found in the description box. So first of all, I'm going to get a card. Let's see what wants to come out. This is my Divine Messages Oracle deck. Wow, hidden things that are done in the dark. Don't forget chapter 6. Okay. Now, this actually happened probably about a week ago. So I've just opened up to keep a book of notes. I've just opened up randomly to this one. I'm like, right, this is obviously the reading that I'm doing. I haven't had a really big look into what I wrote down that morning after I woke up, so I'm kind of going in a bit blind. Hidden things that are done in the dark. Let's get an angel. See who is walking with you in this particular situation. Now, this could be individual energy for you. It could be something that is happening in the collective around you, or something that's happening on a grander scale. 37, Aniel, philosophical knowledge in the arts and sciences. Okay, so that card aligns with the Two of Swords, which is the moon in Libra, which is things that are done in the dark. Two swords. Sword in Hebrew is number 7. I think it's Zayn. 2 sevens. Things that are done in the dark. Interesting. Okay. Actually, what have we got on the bottom? Archangel Michael, that's a truth coming out. Some sort of truth coming out. Perseverance, adversity, conflict, and success. Archangel Michael is an angel that aligns with the star Aldebaran. Aldebaran is the watcher of the east, the eye of the celestial bull. It's one of the 4 rule stars of Persia, and it signifies power, leadership, integrity, and it's present in the sky from the 29th of March to the 31st of March. So maybe a truth that's come out, or that's starting to seep through the cracks. Okay, let's get one of these, because I know some of the messages that are coming through now that I'm starting to pull in this energy. What else can we know about hidden things that are done in the dark? Where is that? I'm going to use Google Images. This is my travel deck. So all of the illustrations on the covers of all of the cards are mine. Some of them have my illustrations on the actual design of the card. It's like the back of the card as well. But some of them are, this particular deck is a travel deck. I spent an extensive amount of time traveling through England and Europe 30 years ago, 28 years ago actually. Back when I was 21. And these are all photos that were taken on an old camera where you actually had to get the film developed. But because it happened so long ago, let me have a look. And you can hear my washing machine in the background. The cycle is about to end. It's the end of a cycle. Some things are about to come out. The Chain Bridge, Budapest in Hungary. Okay. And that's interesting. That there's this tiny little church in Athens, and it would basically probably hold 2 people inside it. It's the size of a bathroom. It's so tiny, and it's just on this little cobbled street, and it's quite low, like it's short. You'd have to bend over to get inside. But in the entry to the doorway is this beautiful mosaic, the Chain Bridge in Budapest. I just keep hearing World War II, World War II, something about something that happened in World War II. And we've got the Vatican on the bottom. Okay. Don't forget chapter 6. Let's have a look at this angel. The Two of Swords. Those born under this angel will acquire celebrity through their talents and enlightenment and will distinguish themselves among the wise. This angel gives victory, rules over the sciences and the arts, reveals the secrets of nature and inspires wise philosophers with their meditations. Soul guardian for those born 12 p.m. to 12:20 p.m. Moral guardian for those born the 25th of April, the 6th of July, the 16th of September, the 27th of November, and the 7th of February. And the physical guardian for those born the 16th to the 20th of September. Now, if we think about a bridge, it links one thing to another. Okay, I'm going to go through these notes that I've got before I pull some cards. Don't forget chapter 6. So whenever I get any references like that, I go to, it's not a religious reading, but I go to biblical text first. I go to the book of Genesis and I go to the book of Revelation because it's the first book in the Bible and it's the last book. So in Genesis chapter 6, it talks about wickedness and the great flood. And we've got a river here. Wickedness and the great flood. And in the book of Revelation, it's the breaking of the seals and the release of the 4 horsemen. Now, when I had that dream, and my son's just been in Europe for 4 weeks, he kind of went to a lot of the places that I went to. Obviously, I was there a lot longer. But as he was going through these different places, I was having these dreams that pulled in some of the energy of where he was. Now, at the time, he was, today the kids are in Berlin, the Brandenburg Gate, and they had sent through a photo outside the Brandenburg Gate. Now, the other thing that I got was, on my random shuffle, I got Little Lion Man, Mumford and Sons, and it was the album cover. And I'll see if I can find it. That was what was coming through. So the kids were sending photos through of the Brandenburg Gate, which has got 4 horses on it. And then I was getting these images, Mumford and Sons. And the song Little Lion Man, I don't know what the lyrics are to that, but this was coming through in a random shuffle. Again, these 4 horsemen, which was Revelation, the breaking of the seals and the release of the 4 horsemen. 446. And Isaiah, that's what came up. Isaiah 47, 1 to 47, bringing people from north, south, east, and west. Well, when you think about, and we've got Michael here, when you think about Germany, you think about this image. This has just come off my wall. You think about this image. Archangel Michael is the watcher of the east. The Brandenburg Gate was a symbol. If you think about the images of World War II, now the four horsemen talk about destruction and judgment. Destruction and that's another song that's been coming through, the Ponte Vecchio. Now the Ponte Vecchio was a bridge that was not destroyed. It was the only bridge in Italy or in Florence that wasn't destroyed. Don't forget chapter 6. Is there some sort of relevance to chapter 6 within World War II? Chapter 6. Mother and child. It was the only bridge that wasn't destroyed. Hidden things that are done in the dark. So, going back to that, Isaiah 47, 1 to 47, bringing people from north, south, east, and west. You think about that as countries. You can think about that as the 4 horsemen. You can think about, that Brandenburg Gate was actually part of where the Berlin Wall was. So we've got east and we've got the west. Now, Archangel Michael is the east. The west is Archangel Uriel, the watcher of the west. The heart of the celestial scorpion. So a scorpion is death and rebirth. It's almost phoenix rising from the ashes. war and transformation, philosophical knowledge, and the arts and sciences. Then I heard a changing of the guard, a false victory, because in the late 1700s, that bridge, I think, was maybe built, not that bridge, the Brandenburg Gate was actually built earlier than the Napoleonic Wars. And so Napoleon marched into Berlin at one point and actually pulled part of the statue that was on top of the Brandenburg Gate. He pulled it off and took it back to France. But then when he lost a subsequent war, it got taken back. So some sort of battle where somebody's had a false victory and then there's been a bit of a U-turn. And then I heard powerful change. Changing of the guard and powerful change. And when you think about the French Revolution, which was that period 250 years ago when Pluto was in Aquarius, and it is in Aquarius again for the next 20 years, it's this revolutionary change, this changing of the guard. That was when the monarchy in Europe was removed. So the way some sort of structure around you has always been, and then the republic was put in. So a changing from individual power to something more collective energy. And what then happened was, it's a bit of avalanche energy, because once that happened in France, once other countries saw that it was actually better for the people that monarchs weren't in charge of a country's business, then all of the other countries in Europe that had monarchs who were running the country, they all started to topple. So something happening here, and I've been hearing that London Bridge is falling down. Don't forget chapter 6. Is chapter 6 some sort of, if you have some sort of agreement within an organization that you're in, Article 6, some sort of clause. Even you could think about, in terms of succession, you could think about, and the Indigenous American Indian, I hate saying that, Indigenous American Indians, the Indigenous people of America say that change occurs every 7 generations. So did something happen in the 6th generation of a lineage, of a family, or a way of doing things that is heralding some sort of change? Powerful, powerful change. Now, Revelation 6, because we looked at Genesis 6, Revelation 6, 1 to 17. The symbolism of the first 6 seals and the significance of God's judgment, the 4 horsemen, and the suffering of the believers. The 4 horsemen symbolize conquest, war, famine, and death. The 4 horsemen opened the first 4 of the 7 seals. Now, the irony is, and I think I've said it before, I got a new car whilst my son was away, and all of these messages were coming through. My car is a Sea Lion 7. So it's got that seal and 7 in there. This is the first 4 seals of the 7 seals. Revelation 6 also talks about martyrs in white robes. So martyr is a sacrifice. Now, if we look at things that are playing out on a grander scale, on a grander level, and you can take into context things that are playing out on the global stage and reference it, because there will be some sort of synchronicities happening down on our level. Everybody's on the same level, but what you can see, we have currently in the Middle East conquest. So these are the 4 horsemen, which represent the 4 seals. And when you get to the end of the 7 seals, it's Judgment Day, right? 4 horsemen, 4 seals, conquest, war, what's happening in the Middle East, famine, and death. Revelation 6. Now, all of that is happening at the moment in Palestine. Revelation 6, the martyrs in their white robes, which is what they're being wrapped in, right? Ready for burial. Now, I've written it. The quadriga, taken as a war trophy by Napoleon after his victory in 1806 and returned in 1814. So there's something here about somebody thinking that they've won the battle when in actual fact it's being taken back, given back to its rightful owner. Now that quadriga, it's called. Actually, I've got it. Let me see. Give me a second. I'll just find it. Okay, this is called the quadriga. Taken as a war trophy by Napoleon. So they took that off the top. Don't know who climbed up there or how they got up there, but they took that off the top. And then that was in 1806, and then they had to return it in 1814 when he obviously lost some sort of battle. But this is his 4 horsemen. So somebody thinking that they've had a victory in a situation when in actual fact they're about to get a rude awakening. There's going to be a changing of the guard, a powerful, powerful change. Genesis chapter 6. And I heard, don't forget chapter 6, the wickedness, the great flood. Something is about to be washed away. Now, this, the goddess of victory, Victoria, very, very potent symbol in the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989. It was built, this was built in 1788 in the western part of the city. So this was actually, that's interesting, right? That was actually built in the last Pluto and Aquarius transit. And it mirrors, these columns mirror the Acropolis, which is 6 columns. And the Acropolis, the 6 columns of the Acropolis, there's something about women. Those 6 columns symbolizing some women, mother and child. Okay, I put the Brandenburg Gate into gematria. 574 and 834. 574 is the tip of the spear. Possession, Francis of Assisi. I shot the sheriff, N times USA. And in Strong's Concordance, it's liberal, openly, frankly, mighty or terrible. 834 is punishment, Groundhog Day, Ezra the scribe, the Church of England, overshadowed, Les Mis, which is the French Revolution again. So this Pluto and Aquarius transit runs every 250 years, and it is a time of revolutionary change. So it was when this was built, but it was also a time of the French Revolution. Les Mis, Purple Wave, True North. And in Strong's Concordance, it's the piper. It's time to pay the piper. Revelation 18:12. Shall be heard no more. Interesting. Okay, let's get some cards. Let's see what else wants to come out. This is the energy around us at the moment as we go into this powerful change. Victory after a long battle. That's Victoria. The 9 of Cups, which is wish fulfillment after being tied up. 8 of Swords. The energy in for you in the 3D, the 6 of Cups. Something is being returned. Something is being returned. 6 of Cups is about something from the past being returned. As I said, it's this 6 of Cups is 6th generation. Maybe you're the 6th generation in your family and you're the one who's going to make the change. You're the bridge connecting the past to the future. Hidden things that are done in the dark. But something is about to be returned. Michael is truth. And what's happening in the soul? The 7 of Cups. That's illusion. The message from the man upstairs. King of Wands. And the outcome. 4 of Wands. And the Ace of Pentacles on the bottom. I'm going to get some cards around this because I want a bit more information. A to Z, the beginning and the end. The key and the game. And start here. This is giving me out of balance Emperor energy. The King of Wands. Don't forget chapter 6. The Shell. It's come out upside down. Some sort of sacrifice could have something to do with religion. You collect shells on a beach. It's information that you've been collecting. Wickedness. About wickedness. Hidden information that you've been connecting. You've been connecting the dots about something here. Something from the past that's happened. The fishes and the loaves. How somebody has made, I want to say the fishes and the loaves, that's Jesus. He comes in, he's got minimal, and then he creates. He ends up with, it's 153, I want to say, 153. Why am I getting that? He ends up with enough for everybody. Something came up in my feed this morning about, and I love her, Francesca Albanese. She's the special rapporteur for the UN on the Palestinian crisis. And she basically just published a document which, maybe it's got a chapter 6, a document showing how, Blood Diamond, that came through as well, showing how people in a particular country have made great revenue through the destruction. What have we got? The symbol of the first seal. The 4 horsemen represent conquest, war, famine, and death. They've made their money. There's a movie called Black Diamond. They've made their money through the destruction of another people. They've actually benefited from a financial level. Their stocks have risen. The surveillance cameras that they're using and using on the Palestinian people, the sales of them have gone through the roof from other armies around the world. They're essentially driving profit from this destruction of somebody else. Genesis chapter 6, the wicked and the great flood. Something is going to be returned. This is a sacrifice. Why did I just hear, Lord, I am not worthy to receive you, but only say the word and I shall be healed. Why did I hear that? Don't forget chapter 6. It's a horseshoe. That's luck. Somebody's luck is about to change. 7 of Cups. The veil is being, hidden things that are done in the dark. The veil is being lifted. Well, I think it's already being lifted. 7 of Cups. Now, as I said, I'm just pulling through messages that I'm picking up on through what's happening collectively, what we're all viewing on our TV screens. Good News Bible. It's chapter 6 in the Bible. The reference is chapter 6 in Genesis and chapter 6 in Revelation, because they're both in the Good News Bible. And I want to say here to some people are actually in their egos, because Napoleon was in his ego when he took this. And then, tail between his legs when they obviously took it back. And then he got exiled because he lost a battle. He got exiled because he was too big for his boots. He thought he'd won. He thought he'd conquered. And if you look at a lot of people who actually read the Bible, and they put a certain country, because it is the spiritual home of 3 religions, really, of Islam, of Christianity, and of Judaism, they combine the Old Testament, which is the Jewish text, and even 2, the Dead Sea Scrolls. They've got 4 of them, but not 7. Maybe they're not meant to have all 7. And they don't have the Book of Esther. The Dead Sea Scrolls doesn't have the Book of Esther or the Book of Jubilees. And this year is a Jubilee year. And the Book of Esther, she was hidden. She was hidden. Interesting. Don't mind me thinking. Okay, so we've got A to Z. The swan. Black swan. We've got an elk. We've got a heart and a key, A to Z. 1 to 10, the beginning and the end. The beginning of the Bible is Genesis and the end of the Bible. The key is in the downtrodden is what I just heard. Okay, King of Wands. Let's have a look. Is this out of balance Emperor energy? Game player. Pulling on heartstrings, game player. Yeah. Same. The key. Got the Two of Cups on the bottom. What's happening here? Look at that. Again, we've got the A to Z up in here. This is my husband's UN cap. So he did a couple, he was in the military. He did a couple of tours with the UN whilst he was in the military to war-torn areas. Don't forget chapter 6. Let me just, because I've got a train of thought that I am going to run with, but I'm just A to Z. So we've got the black swan because we've got a black feather. This is the Salvation Army, the dove, so peace, the covenant. If you think about Genesis chapter 6, it's the wickedness, the great flood. And after the great flood, Noah, the story, whether you believe it to be true or not, but after the great flood, there's the key, we've got the key. God basically said, I will never flood the earth again as long as you keep your covenant with me. These are World War I and World War II buttons from Australian Army uniforms. And then we've got the Salvation Army, which is the peace, which is the people that are trying to stop the fighting. The Salvation Army comes in to mend. You've got a little boy, a brother and a younger and older brother hugging, trying to mend what's broken. And again, we've got the army badge on the bottom. Badge button on the bottom. Okay, so what I was getting was, in that Brandenburg Gate, I got Punishment, Groundhog Day, Ezra the Scribe, Church of England, Overshadowed, Les Mis, Purple Wave, and True North. Tip of the Spear, Possession, Francis of Assisi, I Shot the Sheriff, and End Times USA. Now, the tip of the spear is a symbolism of the soldier that was, and I can't remember his name, Longines. The soldier that was at the base of the cross when Jesus was crucified. And he was asked to check if the prisoner was deceased, and because he had really poor eyesight, and this is why this has come out, because he had really poor eyesight, he had to spear the end of his spear up into the ribs to see if he was still breathing. And what actually happened was blood spilled out and landed on his eyes. Now, he was of no faith, landed on his eyes, and because this is a miracle, and restored his vision. And so from that point on, that man actually made a decision to follow the teachings of Christ because he had himself witnessed a miracle. Now, he then went on to, essentially, he kind of roamed around relaying the teachings, and the Romans didn't like it, so they cut out his tongue. But again, another miracle happened to him and he was still able to preach. So he was effectively a convert, which is revolutionary energy, revolutionary change energy. Then we have the Church of England. Now, the Church of England, again, in another Pluto and Aquarius transit, we had an out of balance Emperor energy, Henry VIII. This was in the Pluto and Aquarius transit in the mid 1500s. 1530, I think it was, 32, wanting to have his way. And in order to get it, he had to change the religion of the whole country because Rome wouldn't release him from his first marriage, didn't believe in divorce. And so he changed the country to Church of England. So we've got this being built. We've also got Napoleon. We've got big changes coming. Now, this card here, the foundations, which is the Four of Wands. I'm going to talk about something in my own personal life. When I was pregnant and the towers fell in 9/11, I was pregnant with my first child. Both my husband and I, he was away at the time. He was in East Timor because there had been a, wouldn't say a terrorist attack, but it was essentially a battle between Islamic extremists and the Catholic population. And there'd been a big massacre. And he was over there. A couple of months later, 9/11 happened. And I was stood in front of the TV, pregnant, watching those towers fall. Now, I had no concept of, I'd never met anybody who was Muslim. I had no view on that religion or anybody within that religion. I had nothing to go by except for what was on the television. Hidden things that are done in the dark. Powerful change. Little Lion Man is that song. Little Lion Man. Napoleon, he was the Lion of Naples. So from that moment that those towers fell and the horrendous things that happened in that attack, my view on that religion completely changed. Was basically put in a negative sphere because of what had happened. Fast forward 18 years and that little girl that was in my belly made the decision to convert to Islam. Powerful, powerful change. Now she is generation 7. What happened in generation 6? What happened in generation 6 was I married out of my culture. So she'd witnessed somebody. Powerful change. There's powerful change coming. And we were only talking about it today in the car because we were in the process of doing some research in regards to the changes in societal collective views from 9/11 through to what's happening currently in Palestine and the progression of the change of people. You've got all these people converting to Islam because they are turning away from what they know. They're seeing the wickedness. Don't forget chapter 6. They're seeing the wickedness, conquest, war, famine, and death in Revelation. Revelation is what is being revealed to you. They're seeing the wickedness and they're making a decision to walk away from it. This is like the wheel of fortune. They're turning the wheel. They're flipping the script. This is where the wall came down. There's a big wall in between those two countries. Hidden things that are done in the dark. Things are starting to be revealed. And I want to say that collectively, it's collectively people that will actually carry us from one side of the river to the other as part of this powerful, powerful change. They're not necessarily being led by what they read in the Bible. And again, not a religious reading, but you can say, I'm not religious, and that's fine. But when the major events in history at this present time actually surround these 3 religions, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, and the undertones of all of that, you can't not look at it. The United Nations. Actually, you know what? Isaiah 47, 1 to 47, bringing people from north, south, east, and west. It's the United Nations. Interesting. Okay, let's get one more of these. This is a game of chess. Family, friends, and children. I'm going to get one more. Let's see what else wants to come out. Now, this could be happening for you individually. Again, I'm looking at it on a remain calm at this time. And soul family. What I want to say is it's a realignment. Everything is being realigned, put back in its proper place. And depending on what your definition of proper is, let's have a look. Let's get a moon. New moon vibes in Sagittarius. Time to step back and admire the grand cosmic canvas. It's actually happening for us. It's actually bringing us into alignment. things that are hidden needing to be revealed. And it's being Archangel Michael, like that's the big guns. It's big, 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 powerful truths coming out. And it's this collective energy, you know, that spear is about transformation. That guard changing religions because he saw something so powerful that he couldn't let it go. People converting to Islam because they've seen something so powerful. They've been moved. And a lot of it too is, I want faith like that. Their homes are destroyed. They've lost every family member. But they say God is sufficient. God is the best disposer of deeds, meaning that horrible things have happened to me, but I'm actually giving it to God, which is incredible faith, right? Okay, what do I want to get? I'm going to get some Scrabble tiles. Letters and numbers in here. It does make a little bit of noise when I shake it. So if you have hearing sensitivity, just turn your volume down. I'm going to shake it in 3, 2, 1. Okay, that's it. Now I'm just reading the four horsemen, destruction and judgment, the chaos that precedes transformation. S and a 1, a G and a 2, a K and a 5, a P and a 3, an R, PR. The lies we've been spun, a W and a 4, and an M and a 3. Okay, finally, I'm going to get 3 final cards. Let's do these little ones. Queen of Wands. Just drawn to that sunflower on that card. Celebration. That's Mercury in Cancer, actually. That's communication. Cancer season is now. 10 of Cups and the Temperance Angel. Yeah, we've got it coming back again. So we've got the 8 of Swords. We've been bound, as in we've been excluded from this hidden knowledge, and we're about to get it. Why? Because it's time for balance. It's time. This is the 10 of Cups. This is spiritual enlightenment. The time is now for powerful, powerful change. The time is now for a changing of the guard. The time is now for what's been stolen to be returned. That's what I've got for you. Thank you so much for joining me for this reading. If it resonated with you, please give it a like. If you haven't already, please subscribe. I do post regularly. Call to any of my tarot or oracle decks. The links to those can be found in the description box. I'll also pop that song in there as well. Thanks again, and I'll see you in another reading.